The gun pressed cold against Naledi's temple. Her hands trembled at her sides. Her heart slammed against her ribs like a caged animal desperate to escape. Across the room stood 5 brothers. 5 sons of the most powerful Korean Mafia family in America. 5 men she had been forced to choose from. And she had chosen wrong. The 3rd son, Jamin, watched her with empty eyes. His face showed nothing. No concern. No fear. No love. They had been married for 3 weeks. And now, because of a choice she made in desperation, she was about to die. "You should have picked me," whispered a voice behind her. The 2nd brother, Miho. His breath was hot against her ear. "I would have protected you. But him? He cannot even protect himself." Naledi closed her eyes. How did she get here? It started with blood. A stranger's blood on her hands. And a debt she never asked to owe. Before we continue the story, if you love dark romance, mafia drama, and love stories that cross cultures and borders, you are in the right place. Subscribe to Afro-Seoul Tale and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Now, let us go back to where it all began. 3 months earlier. Chicago. Winter. Naledi Dlamini had never seen snow until she moved to America. Back home in Johannesburg, South Africa, December meant sunshine, bright with family, and the smell of rain on hot concrete. Here, December meant frozen sidewalks, gray skies, and a loneliness so deep it made her bones ache. She was 24 years old. A nurse. She had moved to America 8 months ago on a work visa, chasing a dream that was starting to feel more like a nightmare. The hospital paid well, but the hours were brutal. And she had no one. No family. No friends. Just a small apartment in a bad neighborhood and a phone full of messages from her mother asking when she was coming home. She did not have an answer. That night, Naledi worked a double shift. 16 hours on her feet. 16 hours of blood, tears, and patients who looked at her like she did not belong. By the time she clocked out, it was past midnight. The streets were empty. Snow fell in thick, silent sheets. Her breath came out in white clouds as she walked toward the bus stop. She was tired. So tired that she almost missed it. A sound. Faint. Wet. Like a cough, but deeper. Naledi stopped. She turned her head toward the alley beside her. Darkness. Shadows. The smell of garbage and something else. Something metallic. Blood. Her nurse instincts kicked in before her fear could stop her. She stepped into the alley. And that was the moment her life changed forever. A woman lay on the ground. She was older. Maybe late 50s. Elegant, even in the filth of the alley. Her black coat was soaked with blood. Her silver hair spilled across the concrete like spilled milk. Her eyes were open. Barely. Naledi dropped to her knees without thinking. "Ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear me?" The woman's lips moved. No sound came out. Naledi's hands moved fast. She tore open the woman's coat and found the wound. A stab wound. Deep. Just below the ribs on the left side. Bad. Very bad. "Stay with me," Naledi said. Her voice was calm even though her heart was racing. "I am a nurse. I am going to help you. But you have to stay awake. Do you understand?" The woman's eyes focused on her face. For a long moment, she just stared. Like she was memorizing every detail. Every feature. The deep brown of Naledi's skin. The fullness of her lips. The box braids that fell past her shoulders. Then she nodded. Once. Slowly. Naledi pulled off her scarf and pressed it against the wound. With her free hand, she pulled out her phone and called 911. The next 15 minutes were a blur. She kept pressure on the wound. She talked to the woman, asking her name, her age, anything to keep her conscious. The woman did not answer. She just watched Naledi with those sharp, knowing eyes. When the ambulance arrived, Naledi gave them a full report. Vitals. Estimated blood loss. Time of discovery. The paramedics looked at her with surprise. Then respect. "You saved her life," one of them said as they loaded the woman into the ambulance. Another 10 minutes and she would have been gone. Naledi watched the ambulance disappear into the snow. She stood there for a long time. Alone. Shaking. covered in a stranger's blood. Then she walked home. She did not know it yet, but she had just saved the life of Madame Kong, the matriarch of the Kong family, the most powerful Korean mafia family on the East Coast. And Madame Kong never forgot a debt. 1 week later, Naledi was in her apartment, eating instant noodles and watching an American movie on her laptop, when the knock came. 3 sharp raps. Firm. Demanding. She frowned. No one visited her. Ever. She muted the movie and walked to the door. Through the peephole, she saw 2 men in black suits. Korean. Tall. Expressionless. Her stomach dropped. Miss Lamini, one of them called through the door. We are here on behalf of Madame Kong. She wishes to see you. Naledi did not move. We mean you no harm, the other man said. Madame Kong simply wants to thank you. Personally. Naledi's mind raced. Madame Kong. The woman from the alley? She had never gotten her name. The paramedics had taken over so quickly. But how did they find her? How did they know her name? Her address? Fear crawled up her spine. But so did curiosity. She thought about ignoring them, pretending she was not home. But something told her that these were not the kind of men who gave up easily. She opened the door. I will need to see some identification, she said. Her voice was steady. She learned a long time ago that showing fear only made things worse. The 2 men exchanged a look. One of them almost smiled. Of course, he said. He reached into his jacket slowly, making sure she could see his hands. He pulled out a business card and handed it to her. It was thick. Black. Embossed with silver lettering. Kong Enterprises. Below the name was a symbol. A dragon wrapped around a rose. Naledi had seen that symbol before. On the news. In whispered conversations at the hospital. Everyone in Chicago knew the Kong name. Everyone knew to stay away from them. And she had saved their mother. The car that waited for her was worth more than her entire apartment building. Black. Sleek. The windows were tinted so dark she could not see inside. One of the men opened the back door for her. Please, he said. It was not a request. Naledi climbed in. The interior was all leather and soft lighting. There was a small bar in the corner. Classical music played from hidden speakers. She sat in silence as the car glided through the city. They drove for nearly an hour. Out of the city. Into the suburbs. Then further. Into an area where the houses became mansions and the streets had no names. Finally, they turned onto a private road lined with bare trees. At the end of the road stood a house. No, not a house. And estate. It was massive. Modern. All glass and steel and sharp angles. It looked like something from a magazine. Or a movie about rich people with dark secrets. Armed guards stood at the gate. They waved the car through without a word. Naledi's heart was pounding now. What had she gotten herself into? The men led her through the front doors and into a grand foyer. Everything was white. White marble floors. White walls. White furniture. The only color came from the massive paintings on the walls. Abstract. Violent. Red slashes on black canvas. Wait here, one of the men said. Then they both disappeared down a hallway. Naledi stood alone in the silence. She wanted to run. Every instinct told her to run. But she did not. Because a part of her, a small, stubborn part, refused to show fear. She had survived too much to be scared by a big house and some men in suits. She was South African. Zulu. Her grandmother used to say that Zulu women were born with fire in their blood. Right now, she needed that fire. Minutes passed. Then she heard footsteps. She turned. And there she was. Madame Kong. The woman looked different than she had in the alley. She was still pale, still recovering. But she was standing. Walking. Alive. She wore a long black dress. Her silver hair was pulled back in a sleek bun. Diamonds sparkled at her ears and throat. Her eyes were the same. Sharp. Knowing. They locked onto Naledi like a hawk spotting prey. Miss Lamini, Madame Kong said. Her voice was soft but commanding. The voice of a woman used to being obeyed. At last. I have been wanting to meet you properly. Naledi dipped her head slightly. A sign of respect. Her mother had taught her that. Madame Kong. I am glad to see you recovering. The older woman smiled. It did not reach her eyes. Because of you, she said. The doctors told me I had minutes left. If you had not found me, if you had not acted so quickly, I would be dead. My sons would be without a mother. My empire would be without a queen. She stepped closer. Close enough that Naledi could smell her perfume. Jasmine and something darker. Something cold. I owe you a debt, Miss Dlamini. And I always pay my debts. Naledi swallowed. That is not necessary, ma'am. I am a nurse. I was just doing my job. Madame Kong laughed. A short, sharp sound. Modesty. How refreshing. She turned and began walking toward a set of double doors. Come. There is something I want to show you. The doors opened into a large sitting room. And inside were 5 men. Naledi stopped breathing. They were all Korean. All tall. All devastatingly handsome in different ways. And they were all staring at her. Madame Kong walked to a large armchair and sat down like she was claiming a throne. Miss Dlamini, she said, these are my sons. She gestured to each of them in turn. My eldest. Seo-jun. He was tall. Broad-shouldered. He wore a 3-piece suit and a cold expression. His jaw was sharp enough to cut glass. He looked at Naledi like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve. My second son. Miho. This one was different. He leaned against the wall with a lazy smirk on his face. His hair was longer, styled carelessly. His shirt was unbuttoned at the collar. When his eyes met Naledi's, he winked. She looked away. My third son. Jamin. Naledi's eyes found him. He stood apart from the others. Near the window. His back was half-turned, like he did not want to be there. He was leaner than his brothers. Sharp cheekbones. Dark eyes. A scar ran through his left eyebrow, thin and pale. He did not look at her. He stared out the window like she did not exist. Something about him made Naledi uneasy. Something cold. Hollow. My fourth son. Do-hyun. This one was younger. Maybe mid-20s. He had the look of a fighter. Thick neck. Rough hands. A bruise on his cheekbone. He glared at Naledi with open suspicion. And my youngest. Taeyong. The last brother was barely a man. 20, maybe 21. He had a softer face than the others. Kinder eyes. He gave Naledi a small smile. She did not return it. Madame Kong watched her carefully. Beautiful, are they not? She said. Strong. Capable. Any woman in the world would kill to marry one of my sons. Naledi felt ice spread through her veins. Marry? Ma'am. Madame Kong raised a hand. Silence. You saved my life, Miss Dlamini. In my culture, that is not a small thing. A life for a life. You gave me mine back. Now I will give you something in return. She smiled. You will marry one of my sons. The words hit Naledi like a slap. Excuse me. You heard me. Madame Kang's voice was calm. Almost bored. You will choose one of my sons. You will marry him. You will become part of this family. Naledi's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. With all due respect, ma'am, I do not want to marry anyone. I saved your life because it was the right thing to do. Not for a reward. Madame Kang's eyes hardened. You misunderstand. This is not a reward. This is a debt. And in this family, debts are always paid. She leaned forward. You are alone in this country, Miss Dlamini. No family. No protection. You live in a dangerous neighborhood. You work a job that pays you half of what you deserve. One wrong step, and you could lose your visa, your job, everything. Naledi felt cold. How did she know all of that? Join this family, Madame Kong continued, and you will never worry again. Money. Status. Protection. Everything you could ever want. And if I refuse? The room went silent. Madame Kang's smile faded. I am giving you a gift, child. It would be unwise to throw it back in my face. Naledi understood the threat beneath the words. Refuse, and her life would become very, very difficult. She looked at the 5 brothers. Seo-jun, the eldest, cold and calculating. Miho, the second, charming and dangerous. Jamin, the third, distant and hollow. Do-hyun, the fourth, angry and suspicious. Taeyong, the youngest, kind but too young. She had to choose one. She had to marry one. and something told her that no matter who she picked, she would regret it. I need time, Naledi said. Her voice did not shake. She was proud of that. Madame Kong studied her for a long moment. 1 week, she finally said. You have 1 week to decide. My men will bring you here again. And you will choose. She waved her hand. You may go. Naledi turned and walked out of the room. She did not look back. But she felt their eyes on her. All 5 of them. And one gaze burned hotter than the rest. Jaemin. The 3rd son. He was still by the window. But now he was looking at her. His eyes were dark. Empty. Like staring into a void. Naledi shivered and kept walking. 1 week later. The week passed in a blur of sleepless nights and impossible decisions. Naledi thought about running, packing her bags and disappearing. But she knew better. The Kang family had eyes everywhere. They had found her once. They would find her again. And what then? A life of running? Looking over her shoulder forever? No. She was not a coward. She was Zulu. She faced her problems head-on. So she made her choice. Not Seojun. He was the heir. Too powerful. Too controlled. She would be nothing but a pawn to him. Not Miho. He was too charming. Too smooth. Men like that always hid something ugly beneath the surface. Not Do-hyun. He clearly hated her already. Marriage to him would be war. Not Taeyong. He was too young. Too innocent. She would not drag him into this. That left Jaemin. The 3rd son. The quiet one. The one who seemed like he wanted nothing to do with any of this. Maybe, she thought, he would leave her alone. Maybe they could have an arrangement. A marriage in name only. It was a gamble. But it was the only choice that made sense. When she returned to the estate, the family was waiting. They sat in the same room. The same positions. Like they had not moved in a week. Madame Kong smiled when Naledi entered. You have made your decision? Naledi nodded. I have. She looked at the 5 brothers. Her eyes landed on Jaemin. He was watching her now. His dark eyes unreadable. I choose him, Naledi said. The 3rd son. Jaemin. Silence. Then chaos. Miho laughed. Loud and sharp. The ghost? You choose the ghost. He shook his head. You are either very brave or very stupid. Do-hyun scoffed. She is dead. She just does not know it yet. Seojun said nothing. But his jaw tightened. Taeyong looked at Naledi with something like pity. And Jaemin? Jaemin did not react at all. His face stayed empty. Hollow. Like he felt nothing. Madame Kong raised her hand. Silence fell. It is decided, she said. Naledi Dlamini will marry my 3rd son, Kong Jaemin. The wedding will take place in 2 weeks. She looked at Naledi. Welcome to the family, my dear. Her smile was sharp. I hope you survive it. It was cold. Clinical. A transaction dressed up in white silk and expensive flowers. Naledi stood at the altar in a gown that cost more than her yearly salary. Her braids were styled in an elegant updo. Diamonds hung from her ears. She looked like a queen. She felt like a prisoner. Jaemin stood across from her. He wore a black suit that fit him like armor. His face showed nothing. No joy. No resentment. No emotion at all. When the officiant asked if he took Naledi as his wife, he said yes. 1 word. Flat. Empty. When it was her turn, Naledi hesitated. She looked at Jaemin. Searched his face for something. Anything. She found nothing. I do, she said. And just like that, she was Mrs. Kong. Wife to a ghost. Bound to a family of killers. There was no kiss. Jaemin did not even look at her as they walked down the aisle. The reception was a parade of faces she did not know. Powerful people. Dangerous people. They looked at her with curiosity. Some with amusement. A few with hunger. She was the outsider. The African girl who had stumbled into their world. Miho found her near the champagne table. Regretting your choice yet? He asked. He stood too close. His cologne was expensive and suffocating. No, Naledi said. She did not step back. He smiled. Liar. He leaned in, his lips brushing her ear. He is broken, you know. My brother. There is nothing inside him. You will spend your marriage talking to walls and sleeping in a cold bed. Naledi turned to face him. And you? What would marriage to you have been like? His smile widened. Fire. Passion. I would have made you scream my name every night. Sounds exhausting. Miha laughed. I like you, Naledi. It is a pity. You could have been mine. He walked away, leaving her with a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. The first night. The Kong estate had a wing for each son. Jaemin's wing was on the far east side. Isolated. Quiet. Naledi followed him through the halls in silence. Her heels clicked against the marble. His footsteps made no sound. Ghost. They called him the Ghost. Now she understood why. His wing was different from the rest of the house. Where the main estate was all white and steel, his space was dark. Black furniture. Dark wood floors. Heavy curtains that blocked out the moonlight. It felt like a tomb. This is your room, Jaemin said. He stopped in front of a door. Mine is at the end of the hall. Do not enter without permission. His voice was low. Cold. Dead. We are married, Naledi said. Are we not going to share a room? Jaemin looked at her. Really looked at her for the first time. His eyes traced her face. Her lips. The curve of her neck. For a moment, something flickered in his gaze. Something dark and dangerous. Then it was gone. No, he said. He walked away. Naledi stood in the hallway, watching him disappear into the shadows. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. When you walk into a lion's den, girl, you do not show your belly. You show your teeth. Fine. If Jaemin wanted a war of silence, she would give him something else entirely. She would make him see her. Living in the Kang estate was like living in a museum. Everything was beautiful. Everything was cold. And everything had rules. Naledi learned them quickly. Breakfast was at 7. Served in the main dining room. Attendance was mandatory. The brothers ate in silence. Madame Kong presided over the table like a queen holding court. Naledi sat beside Jaemin. He never spoke to her. Never acknowledged her. He ate his food, read his phone, and left. Every single morning. By the 4th day, Naledi was done. Good morning, husband, she said loudly as Jaemin sat down. Everyone at the table froze. Jaemin's chopsticks paused halfway to his mouth. I slept well, Naledi continued, her voice bright. Thank you for asking. How did you sleep? Silence. Miho snorted into his coffee. Do-hyun stared at her like she had lost her mind. Taeyong hid a smile behind his napkin. Seojun watched with cold interest. Madame Kong raised an eyebrow. Jaemin set down his chopsticks. Slowly. Carefully. Fine, he said. His voice was flat. Then he stood up and walked out. Naledi smiled and took a bite of her toast. She felt Madame Kang's eyes on her. You have spirit, the older woman said. Good. You will need it. Naledi refused to be invisible. She explored the estate. Talked to the staff. Learned their names, their stories, their secrets. She learned that the head housekeeper, Mrs. Park, had a granddaughter with leukemia. She learned that the cook, Mr. Yoon, had been with the family for 30 years. She learned that everyone in the house was terrified of Jaemin. Not because he was cruel. Not because he yelled or threatened. But because of what he had done. The third young master, Mrs. Park told her one afternoon, was not always like this. He used to smile. Laugh. He was the warmest of all the brothers. What happened? Naledi asked. Mrs. Park's face went pale. You should ask him yourself, ma'am. It is not my story to tell. She hurried away, leaving Naledi with more questions than answers. That night, Naledi broke the rules. She walked to the end of the hall. To Jaemin's door. She knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Go away. His voice was muffled through the wood. No. Silence. Then the door opened. Jaemin stood there, shirtless. His chest was lean and sculpted. But that was not what made Naledi gasp. It was the scars. His body was covered in them. Thin lines. Thick ridges. Burns. Stab wounds. Bullet holes. A map of pain written on his skin. What do you want? He asked. His voice was flat. But his eyes were different. Guarded. Vulnerable. Naledi swallowed. I want to know you, she said. I want to know who I married. You married a monster. I do not believe that. Jamin stepped closer. He towered over her. His presence was overwhelming. Heat and cold at the same time. You should, he said. Because I have killed more people than I can count. I have done things that would make you sick. I am not a good man, Naledi. I am not a man at all. His hand came up. Slowly. His fingers brushed her jaw. You should have chosen someone else. Then he stepped back and closed the door. Something changed after that night. Jamin still did not speak to her at breakfast. Still avoided her during the day. But she felt him watching her. When she walked through the garden, she would catch a glimpse of him at a window. When she ate dinner, his eyes would flicker to her when he thought no one was looking. And once, late at night, she heard footsteps outside her door. Slow, hesitant, then retreating. He was fighting something. She could feel it. And so was she. Because despite everything, the coldness, the silence, the scars, she was drawn to him. It made no sense. She knew nothing about him. He had given her nothing. But there was something beneath the emptiness. Something broken and beautiful. She wanted to find it. 3 weeks into the marriage, someone tried to kill her. It happened fast. Naledi was leaving the hospital. She had convinced Madame Kong to let her keep working when a black van pulled up beside her. The door slid open. Hands grabbed her. She fought. She screamed. She bit and kicked and clawed. But there were too many of them. They threw her into the van. A bag went over her head. Darkness. Naledi forced herself to breathe. To think. She was a Zulu woman. She was not going to die in the back of a van. She listened. Counted. There were 3 of them, maybe 4. They were speaking Korean. Fast. Angry. She caught one word she recognized. Kong. This was about the family. About her marriage. The van drove for what felt like hours. Finally, it stopped. They dragged her out. Removed the bag. She was in a warehouse. Empty. Cold. Industrial lights buzzed overhead. A man stood in front of her. He was Korean. Middle-aged. A scar ran across his throat, thick and ugly. Mrs. Kang, he said. His English was accented. Welcome. I have been wanting to meet you. Naledi's hands were tied behind her back. Her knees ached from where they had hit the concrete. But she kept her face calm. Who are you? The man smiled. My name is not important. What is important is what you are going to do for me. He pulled out a phone. Showed her a photo. It was Madame Kong. You are going to help me kill her. Naledi laughed. The man blinked. You think I am joking? No, Naledi said. I think you are stupid. You kidnapped me because you think I have power? I have been married for 3 weeks. I do not know anything. I cannot help you. The man's smile faded. Then you are useless. He pulled out a gun. Naledi closed her eyes. She thought about her mother. Her grandmother. The smell of rain in Johannesburg. She thought about Jamin. His scars. His hollow eyes. The way his fingers had felt against her jaw. I am sorry, she thought. I never got to know you. A gunshot. But no pain. Naledi opened her eyes. The man with the scar was on the ground. Blood pooled beneath him. Behind him stood Jamin. He was breathing hard. His eyes were wild. Alive in a way she had never seen. In his hand was a gun. Smoke curled from the barrel. Naledi, he said. Her name sounded different on his lips. Raw. Desperate. He crossed the room in 3 strides. His hands cupped her face. His eyes searched hers. Are you hurt? Did they touch you? I will kill them. I will kill all of them. His voice cracked. And Naledi saw it. Beneath the ice. Beneath the emptiness. He felt everything. He felt too much. That was why he hid. That was why he built walls so high. Because if he let himself feel, he would drown. I am okay, she whispered. Jamin. I am okay. His forehead dropped to hers. His breath shuddered. I thought I lost you, he said. I cannot lose you. Naledi's heart broke and rebuilt in the same moment. You will not, she said. I am not going anywhere. Jamin told her everything that night. They sat in his room, on his bed, in the darkness. He told her about his childhood. How Madame Kang had raised her sons to be weapons. How love was weakness. How emotion was punished. He told her about his first kill. 13 years old. A man who had betrayed the family. He told her about the years of violence. The bodies. The blood. How he became the family shadow. The one they sent when they needed something done quietly. He told her about the woman he had loved 3 years ago. How she had been killed by a rival family. How he had watched her die. How he had been too late to save her. I died that day, he said. His voice was hollow. I locked everything away. The pain. The love. All of it. I became empty. He looked at Naledi. Then you came. And you looked at me like I was human. Like I was worth seeing. His hand found hers. I try to push you away. I try to protect you from me. But I cannot. You are already under my skin. You are already in my blood. Naledi squeezed his hand. Then stop fighting, she said. Let me in. Jaemin's eyes glistened. I do not know how. Then we learned together. But peace was not meant to last. The attack on Naledi was not random. It was the beginning of a war. A rival family, the Huang Syndicate, was making a move. They wanted the Kang Empire. And they would burn anyone in their way. Madame Kang called a family meeting. All 5 sons. All their wives. Everyone. Naledi sat beside Jaemin. His hand rested on her thigh. Possessive. Protective. Things had changed between them. They shared a room now. A bed. She had seen his darkness and chosen to stay. And he had started to thaw. Small smiles. Quiet words. Touches that lingered. But at the meeting, all warmth was gone. The Huang family has declared war, Madame Kang said. Her voice was ice. They will come for everything we have. Our businesses. Our territory. Our blood. She looked at each of her sons. We will destroy them first. Seojun nodded. I will handle the finances. Cut their funding. Miho grinned. I will handle their suppliers. Make them bleed. Do Hyun cracked his knuckles. I will take out their soldiers. One by one. Taeyang hesitated. What about their families? Innocent people. There are no innocents in this world, Madame Kang said coldly. Then she looked at Jaemin. And you, my ghost. You will do what you do best. You will kill their leader. Naledi's blood went cold. Jaemin's face was empty again. The walls were back up. Yes, mother, he said. That night, Naledi confronted him. You cannot do this. Jaemin was packing. Guns. Knives. Things she did not want to name. I have no choice. There is always a choice. He stopped. Looked at her. If I do not do this, they will come for you. They already tried once. Next time, I might not be there. So you go on a suicide mission instead? It is not suicide. I am good at what I do. You could die. Jaemin's joy tightened. Then I die protecting you. Naledi grabbed his arm. I did not marry you to become a widow. I did not fall in love with you just to lose you. Jaemin froze. You love me. The words had slipped out. But Naledi did not take them back. Yes, she said. God help me, but yes. I love you, Kang Jaemin. And if you walk out that door, I am coming with you. His eyes burned. Absolutely not. Then do not go. I have to. Then I have to follow. They stared at each other. 2 stubborn souls. Neither willing to break. Finally, Jaemin sighed. You are impossible. I am Zulu. We do not give up. Despite everything, he smiled. A real smile. Small but real. Come here, he said. He pulled her into his arms. Held her tight. I will come back to you, he whispered. I promise. Naledi buried her face in his chest. You better. Or I will find you in the afterlife and drag you back myself. He laughed. Low and quiet. I believe you. The war lasted 3 weeks. 3 weeks of gunfire and blood and fear. Naledi waited every night for Jaemin to come home. Sometimes he came bloody. Sometimes he came empty-handed. But he always came. Until the night he did not. Naledi knew something was wrong before anyone told her. She felt it. Deep in her bones. She ran to Seojun. Where is he? Where is Jaemin? Seojun's face was grave. There was an ambush. He was captured. The world tilted. No. No, no, no. We are going to get him back. I am coming with you. Seojun shook his head. You are not. I am coming with you. Her voice left no room for argument. The rescue is chaos. Blood. Bullets. Screaming. Naledi stayed close to Seojun, following his commands, staying out of the way. Until she saw him. Jaemin. He was tied to a chair in a back room. Beaten. Bloody. Barely conscious. The Hwang leader stood over him, gun raised. Any last words, Kong? Jaemin's head lifted. His eyes found Naledi in the doorway. He smiled. Yes, he said. Duck. Naledi dropped to the ground. A gunshot. Not from the Hwang leader. From behind Naledi. Miho. The Hwang leader fell. Dead before he hit the floor. Naledi ran to Jaemin. Cut his ropes. Held his face in her hands. You are alive. You are alive. Told you, he rasped. I promised. She kissed him. Hard. Desperate. Not caring who watched. He kissed her back. The war ended that night. The Hwang syndicate fell. Their leaders dead. Their empire in ruins. The Kong family emerged stronger than ever. But Naledi did not care about any of that. She sat beside Jaemin's hospital bed. The family had their own private medical wing and watched him sleep. He was bruised. Broken. But alive. When he woke up, the first thing he saw was her face. Hey, he said. His voice was rough. Hey yourself. He reached for her hand. Did I ever tell you that you were wrong? About what? Picking me. You said you picked wrong. Naledi smiled. I did pick wrong. According to everyone else. And according to you? She leaned down and kissed his forehead. According to me, I picked exactly right. Naledi stood in the garden of the Kong estate. Spring had come to Chicago. Flowers bloomed. The sun was warm. She placed a hand on her swollen belly. 7 months pregnant. Jaemin's arms wrapped around her from behind. What are you thinking about? He murmured against her hair. How strange life is, she said. A year ago, I was alone. Scared. Barely surviving. Now I am married to a Mafia prince, carrying his child, and somehow, inexplicably, happy. Jaemin turned her to face him. He was different now. Softer. The walls were still there, but she had a key. You saved me, he said. You know that, right? Before you, I was dead inside. You brought me back. Naledi cupped his face. We saved each other. He kissed her. Slow. Deep. Full of promise. When they pulled apart, Naledi laughed. What? Jaemin asked. I just thought of something. Your mother wanted me to join the family. She thought she was trapping me. And? Naledi grinned. I think I am the one who trapped all of you. This family has no idea what it is in for. Jaemin laughed. A real laugh. Full and warm. You are terrifying. I am Zulu, she said. We do not scare. We conquer. He pulled her closer. Then conquer away, my wife. I am already yours. And that is where we end today's story. Did Naledi really pick wrong? Or did she pick exactly the man she needed? Let me know in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, made you feel something, or kept you watching until the very end, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Share this with someone who loves dark romance as much as you do. This is Afro-Soul Tale, where Africa meets soul, and every love story is unforgettable. I will see you in the next one.